Hey everyone, it's Jill the Wandering Stamper. I hope you're having a fabulous day. Today I decided to bring it down a notch. We did a couple of fun folds the last couple of videos, and I wanted to give you a great card layout that you can use all year round. It's been around a while, but you know, for me personally, it wasn't really on my radar until recently, and it kept popping up, and I thought, you know, let me work on this. And I've made so many of those cards since then. It's actually going to be part of a card class that I'm having pretty soon. It's a Polaroid layout. It's super cool, and you can use it for so many of your designer series papers. Anything that has an image, a bold image or a scene works great for this card. So I wanted to share that with you because sometimes we want to really make a cool, cute, impactful card, but we don't want to use a ton of materials, or we just don't have a lot of time and we want to get a few done. This is the perfect layout for you. So give me just a moment to turn down the camera. We'll get started, and I'm so glad you joined me today. Here are the things that we're working on today. We are going to be using the Hope You Know Cling Set stamp. I tell you what, I really enjoy this because it has wishing you comfort, miss you, hello friend, thinking of you today, and then sentiments for inside that go perfectly with these sayings. So sometimes, you know, a lot of our stamp sets are all about birthday and happy stuff, and once in a while you just need to send somebody something a little more serious. So this is a really great set, and you can use it for so many things throughout the year. And I like that they also mixed and matched the fonts too, so that you have a lot of variety. So we're going to be using that for our greeting and our sentiment. And then we have this gorgeous designer series paper. This is Everyday Skies. It actually coordinates with the Everyday Arches dies, but I use the paper for so much more, and I love it because it's all skies. There are backgrounds, there's clouds, there's stormy skies, sunny skies. Love this set. I use it a lot, and I love a good sky. So I'm a stargazer, and I love watching sunsets. I'm not so much on the sunrise because I'm not a morning person. You're doing good to get me out of bed by 8 a.m. and I will put a cup of coffee in my hand before anything happens. But I do love a good sunset. So we're going to be using this paper, and then I've decided to pair it with Pretty in Pink and Night of Navy, and of course basic white cardstock. So that is what we're working with today. And this card is very simple, but I wanted to show it to you because sometimes you just need something easy to create with. So let's grab our paper cutter. I cleaned up my office, and sometimes I put things right out of reach. All right, we're going to start out with our basic card base. We're going to do a 4 1/4 by 11, so we're going to have it open the long way. So let me grab a piece of that Night of Navy. You could have it open either way. We're going to do it this way for fun. Both ways work. You could do 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, score at 4 1/4. We're going to do 4 1/4 by 11 and score at 5 1/2 today. Now, a little tip. You can make these cards as simple as you want, and they're beautiful, and you can step them up. One of my samples I'll show you, I actually ran this through an embossing folder, the front of the card, and texturized it, and then created my Polaroid layout. So you can step this up, you can add ribbons and bows, you can do embossing. You can step this up and play it down, and both ways are going to be phenomenal. So here's our card base, 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. And then working from the base up, we're going to want a layer that's 3 1/4 by 4 1/2. So I've decided, all right, we're going to go ahead and add a little bit of Melon Mambo. That was kind of an afterthought, I know. So this layer here is optional, but I wanted to show you, I'm stepping it up a little bit, but not all the way. So this is going to be 3 1/4 by 4 1/2. So we've got, this is just a scrap I had. This is a great way to use some of your scraps. I love it when I have a large enough scrap. All right, so that is going to go on the next layer up. And then I'm going to go with a lighter layer. Now I typically like to do a lighter layer that the Polaroid photo, if you will, is going to go on, because then we can stamp right on it. So that layer is going to be slightly smaller. It's going to be 3 by 4 1/4. So again, I just have a scrap here. that's about the smallest scrap I have, so 3 by 4 1/4. So that is going to be layered right here. All right, we're going to set this aside. All right, and then we have our designer series paper. Now what you want to do is decide where you want, what corner, what part of this paper you want. So we only need a 2 3/4 by 2 3/4 layer, or if you want to layer a color behind it, you want to make that slightly smaller. So you make that 2 5/8 by 2 5/8 and then put a layer behind it that is 2 3/4. So what I like to do, let's go ahead and shoot for the 2 5/8 and I'll show you what I mean. So I want to pull in some of this blue and I also want to get some of the pink. So I'm kind of just putting it at the 2 5/8 mark just to see where we're at. And I think that will get us both. I'm actually going to pull it a little bit higher. And then I'm going to cut it, let's see, 2 5/8. Oops, I want to use this side. So I like to just kind of play around with my clouds and get them so some of them are showing. So that looks pretty good. So I just keep trimming until I'm happy. So that gives us a little bit of everything. And I'm just making sure ultimately it's 2 5/8. So I've just kind of trimmed around it so I get a little bit of clouds, a little bit of dark sky. All right, now I could layer this on here just like so, and it looks perfectly pretty, but I'm gonna go ahead and put a little bit of Night of Navy behind it just for fun. So let's see if I have a smaller scrap. I do. So then this piece is going to be 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. So remember, if you're not adding your layer, my microphone is right in the way. If you're not adding your layer behind the designer series paper, then make the designer series paper 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. But if you are going to add a mat behind that, then make it 2 5/8 by 2 5/8 and make your mat 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. So that just gives it a nice little narrow margin. All right, now we need, of course, the inside of our card. So let me grab some white, and we're just going to do a 4 by 5 1/4. Now you could also add a layer inside of this if you wanted to, and then you just make it 3 3/4 by 5, and then add a mat behind that. Just basic. So like I said, you can play this up as much as you want. All right, so there's the inside of our card, and that's it for the cutting. Like I said, it's pretty simple. So what I like to do next is, we're gonna set that aside. So I go ahead, I'm not doing anything with this. Now you could stamp on this if you had a lighter background. I'm not gonna do anything with this, so I'm just gonna go ahead and glue it onto my layer. I don't even have my glue gun, my glue press opened. Here we go. My husband golfs on a men's league while we're here in this campground on Wednesday. We've only got a couple more weeks, and he's gone on Wednesday morning. So I usually have my coffee, and then it's video time. And sometimes I look at the clock and go, ooh, I gotta get started before he gets back. And I don't always get everything set up, so. All right, see how pretty that looks? It just kind of sets it off just a tiny bit more. And that will ultimately go on here. But of course, I don't want to add this until I stamp on it. So we're going to go ahead and do our stamping. So I like to lay this out kind of the way it's going to go on the card. So see how it looks like a Polaroid? So you just want to space it out. So I like to do that. And then that way I kind of know where my sentiment's going to go. So I think we're going to do Thinking of You Today. I like the Miss You as well. Maybe we'll do Miss You, because I haven't done very many of those cards. And I'm going to put it right here because I want to put some embellishments over here. So let's grab a stamp block. And I'm going to pick Night of Navy because I want a nice bold color, and that's what we've used in our card. So I'm going to ink that up, and now that I've kind of got this laid out where I want it, I know exactly where to put my stamp. So let's see, let's do it about right here. Miss you. All right, got my chamois wet. I love the chamois. You know, I never used the chamois in the past, and for the last 6 months I've used the chamois instead of the pad, and I gotta tell you, I like it. All right, so Miss You. So now that that's stamped, I'm gonna go ahead and add our glue to the back. Love this glue press from My Sweet Petunia. I am not an affiliate, but it is a product that I really love. It makes stamping very easy. All right, now if you have a little ridge on your paper, a little tip, just use your bone folder and it gets rid of it. So sometimes when you cut your paper and then you stamp on the opposite side of where you cut, you get a little ridge, and that just takes care of it. So a little tip for you. All right, I am just making sure that's straight. That looks good. All right, so now that this is all put together, I'll go ahead and glue it onto the Melon Mambo. And like I said, the Melon Mambo layer is perfectly optional, but I enjoy adding lots of colors to my cards, so I usually do. I will have on my blog, don't forget you can click on the link below to my blog, but I'll add the measurements for everything. So you'll have all the optional measurements as well. I like to make sure everybody has everything they need. So now this is going to go on the front. Now you could do it. One thing I was thinking about is we have the corners and bloom stamps. If this was a lighter piece of cardstock, you could totally use one of those corners to go here. That would be really pretty if you offset it either way, because there's corners that go both directions. I'm going to just put this in the middle, but again, envision this also embossed. How pretty would that be? You could also stamp tone on tone. So there's a lot of ways to create a card with lots of elements, or make it as easy as you want. So this looks really pretty. All right, let me make sure that's straight. That looks, whoops, you know, it was straight until I moved it. All right, that looks good. So now we just have the inside. So we used Miss You, so there's probably a saying. And I think what goes with it is you are the sunshine that brightens so many of my days. So I will grab that one, which is this stamp, and a block. And we're going to grab that Night of Navy again. Now, if you were using one of the designs that have stars, there are in the Everyday Arches stamp set some stars. So you could add stars to your background, to your inside if you wanted to. You know, I didn't put this on straight, so let me stand up. If you put your stamp on your block straight, it's a whole lot easier to stamp straight. Okay. Standing up did the work. Did the job. All right, I'll wipe this off. I like to wipe my stamps off right away, because otherwise I'll grab it to stamp with it and not realize I didn't clean it off. All right. See how easy? And I love these sentiments because they coordinate so well. All right, I've got ink on my thumb, and you know that's going to end up on my piece of cardstock, so wipe that off on the chamois. All right, so now we're just going to add our liquid glue. Like I said, this is super easy, and I'm getting ready to have a craft and participate in a craft fair. It's a benefit craft fair in here in the park, in the campground that we're staying at, and I think I'm going to make some of these to add to my booth because they're so easy and versatile. And the residents here, the people staying here with us, mentioned that they wanted some thinking of you and get well and things like that. So this will be perfect. So I grabbed a variety of embellishments because I wasn't sure what I was going to use. So these would look really pretty. The butterflies are really pretty. I think the gold is really pretty. The pink's a little too tone on tone. And these are pretty, so what should we use? I think let's use the gold. The butterflies are cute, but I think I like the gold. I just kind of grabbed a handful of things out of the drawer. So I'm going to grab, should I use little? I'm going to grab the little ones. If I can grab them, there we go. I'm going to grab the big ones. I got enough space. These are the flat, oh, what are these called? I'll link them. I'm just going to do 3. And I'm just going to line them up. This is a great little go-to, way to embellish. Is just line them up in a straight line, make a little formation. Okay, that's it. That is the whole card. And it just takes a few minutes to make. So pretty. Let me get some stuff out of the way and I'll show you my other samples. All right, so we have Miss You, this beautiful, elegant little sky. You are the sunshine that brightens so many of my days. So this is a super simple card. You could dress it up and add ribbon. You can emboss. You can add more, layers, take away layers. So many things you can do, but sometimes simple says it all. Here's another sample I did earlier, and as you can, I don't know if you can see it, but I embossed the clouds using one of my embossing folders. I cannot remember the name of it, but since this was the sky, I embossed the sky in the background, and it says, wishing you comfort. May you find the peace in the days to come and in the loving thoughts that surround you now. So that's more of like a sympathy card. Super pretty, and I used Misty Moonlight, Night of Navy, and Fresh Freesia. And there's a little Calypso coral behind the sky because we've got a lot of Calypso coral in the sky. So there's that second sample. The third sample, I used the Storybook Friends, and all I did was cut a panel out of the Designer Series paper and pop that on there, and it's so pretty. These little rabbits sharing the cabbage or lettuce, whatever it is. It says thank you very much, and then inside, since this is a thank you card, I grabbed one of the cabbage stamps or lettuce stamps. I think this is cabbage. I should know that. I grew up on a farm, but cabbage stamps from the Storybook Gardens set, so it all ties in. And then this is Old Olive, Early Espresso, and Crumb Cake. And then I use the Antique Pearls, and they're super pretty. So there's another sample. I had a lot of fun with these cards, as you can tell. This one, I used the Adventurous Sky, the Designer Series paper, and the stamps. So again, I just cut a piece of the Designer Series paper into there was a scene, so I went ahead and cut that out to make the scene kind of all fit, and added some embellishments, and it says you're the best, plain and simple, happy birthday, and then I just added another plain down here to sort of tie it all in. So there's another card. And then finally, I grabbed the Wildflower Birthday Designer Series paper and the birthday celebration stamp set. Yes, cake celebration stamp set, that's right. And I cut the cupcake out of the Designer Series paper. It's on the front sheet. There are like pre-designed pieces, and there was one in there with the cupcake, so I just trimmed it down just a little bit to fit and added my sentiment to the inside, and then added happy birthday. So super simple. I can add a bow to it. I could actually emboss, this piece or this piece. So many things. You can step it up if you want, but it looks really pretty just the way it is. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 samples, and this really didn't take me very long to make. So I just kind of plan what I want to make a card of, and then pop together, grab some Designer Series paper, and go with the colors in the paper. Super simple to mix and match that way, and this is a great go-to card fold or card layout. So don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you don't already. I always post on Wednesday a fun fold or card layout. So today's going to be a card layout, of course. I've got some fun things coming up. Also, I'm getting ready to get some of the new products that are going to be in the new annual catalog, so we can start ordering those as a demonstrator pretty soon, which I'm so excited for because that will bring you a whole new variety of things to see. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to hit that bell so you get reminders. And don't forget to head on down to my blog so that you can get all the cutting and scoring instructions and the materials listed for these cards. I'm Jill the Wandering Stamper. I'm going to get outside and enjoy some sunshine, and I hope you have a great rest of the day. See you later.